All right guys, the flexible here, and I'm gonna show you the relaxed lunge to target the hip flexor, okay? So basically this stretch is really easy. It's called a relaxed lunge because like most hip flexor stretching you see, you're gonna see a lot of people sitting upright, but it's very easy to cheat by arching through the low back, which is gonna take the stretch out of the hip flexor. So I like this variation because you're gonna be forward on your hands, so it puts the back into a neutral position where you can really use the glute to stretch out the hip flexor. So to start, you want the heel in front of the knee, okay? So you don't want it to be 90 degrees, you wanna make sure that your heel's in front of the knee. Hands are gonna go inside of the leg, okay? So super important, make sure that they're inside the leg. And then as you can see from here, literally all I wanna focus on doing is using my glute to squeeze and push the hip flexor down towards the floor, okay? So we'll do this for about 90 seconds. During that time, you just want to focus on breathing. So breathe in through your nose. As you exhale, try to get a little deeper into the stretch, okay? That's the key. So big breath in, exhale, drop the hip. Now, as you get more flexible, you can go down onto the forearms, okay? So you can get even more stretch here on that back leg. And again, breathe in, exhale, and use the glute to push the hip towards the floor. You should feel a nice strong stretch right in the front of the hip, right? So that's the relaxed lunge hip flexor to work on hip flexibility for the split squat. All right guys, so now I'm gonna show you a couch stretch, but this particular variation is gonna be to bias the flexibility of the hip flexor versus the quad. So the setup would be the same for your quad hip flexor, or for your quad stretch. So I like to use a bench because it's gonna take ankle flexibility out of the equation. Again, you want the front ankle in front of the knee, okay? That's gonna give you room to move down towards the floor. Now our quad stretch, we're gonna be upright, but for this variation, for the hip flexor, we actually want to push the hip down towards the floor. And this variation, we're also gonna have the chest upright instead of down. So we just wanna focus on really engaging and squeezing through the glute to push the hip down towards the floor. The more flexible you get, you can keep sliding the front foot forward, so that way you're not limited by your hip, all right? So you're really squeezing that glute. Chest up. Make sure that you're breathing. Again, this one's gonna be about 90 seconds, okay? And as you get closer and closer to the ground, again, you can just keep sliding that foot forward. All right, so this one is gonna focus on, again, the hip flexor. You can use a block. Some of you guys, if you start out really tall and you need like a stool or something like that, that's fine. But a yoga block would be great, especially as you get closer to the floor, because then you can keep changing the height of the block to allow you to get deeper and deeper. And that is the couch stretch for the hip flexor.